set to bump in. Both would have to make monster runs to qualify in this field. Keep their trucks from Raceway Park on Saturday night back to Atlanta so they can test at Atlanta Dragway, and that's what they do. That's why they've won so many Winston champions with W. Day, with 5 of them, as a matter of fact.
It'll bring up Ed Heck and Jerry Haas in that brand new Mercury Cougar. That car is just awesome. And it's the same thing like we talked about with Bill Shorts a minute ago. It's a brand new.
Ed Heck, Jerry Haas bumping in with that brand new Mercury Cougar with the carbon fiber body, the new look Pro Stock car. Haas obviously has problems left. You think Jerry Haas is taking it easy out there with that brand new
So you talk about these cars. I mean, they make 1,200, 1,250 horsepower in that neighborhood. 2,300-pound cars. And when you Roger down track
to qualify. Nope, he missed it. 699, 196.
Right. Definitely looked like he had a good one going, but it was also moving around a little bit in the middle. And when you see a car dancing back and forth like that, it's spinning the tires. You hear Pro Stock guys from time to time talk about, well, it blew the tires off. It's not as visual as it is if you see with one of the nitro cars when you can see the tire smoke.
The other lane, that's what makes drag racing so cool. Because anybody can go out there and love the truck drive. Again, Chevrolet, 696, 695 for Tom Hammonds. Neither will get it. John Mobile. Neither racers in with the Tom Martino horsepower. But we'll really get a chance to judge the track as we go farther into this qualifying session.
Yeah, in theory, the cars get quicker as we go because what the
John Mobile, both guys out of New York running the Tom Martino horsepower. Let's see if we can get a good grip of the racetrack. 695, John Nobile 698, and right now, Alan, if you're not in,
two pretty good old race cars right here. If anybody's going to get in the field, it'll be one of these two.
Scott Jeffrey on for Team Mopar getting set to go. The last guy who qualified #1, by the way, back in Memphis in 1995 for the Mopar folks. And Tom Martino for Century 21, engine builder, a guy who works at Jessel Babtrin. I know Danny Jessel.
Of course, with the Hemi under the hood, the new generation 2K Hemi Dodge.
Both cars bumping in, the Hemi taking on Tom Martino, Tommy Kling, and Century 21. Scott Jeffrey moves in, they sidestep the racetrack. Here comes Team Mopar, 691. Jeffrey on bumps out.
And Scott's car, that's where big part of the problem was, getting off the starting line. So 15th, I'm not sure I'd go cashing that qualifying check just yet. We've got some pretty solid races to go. The rear and Morrison Pontiac Firebird and Brad Jeter backing up that Dynagear car for Steve Schmidt. But pretty much got out of it. 693. It's one of those things you just have to work your way through a slump like that.
Their third EQ this year from Blue Sound. Next up, V Gaines, who we saw win the Dallas race a few moments ago when we were playing the race on Winston Vision while we're waiting for the rain to stop, and that was his only win. Right now, not qualified at 692. The Hemi Dodge top end, 688. What a great run for Larry Morgan.
Up in spot. One of them has already run. The other one has yet to make his run. Wouldn't surprise me to see Alan Johnson step up. It would surprise me right now if Scott Jeffrey held on, because we've got some very good cars right here that are not everybody's favorite fill-in driver right now. We do need stock aluminum in.
Top end 696. Mark Osborne, who was #1 2 weeks ago at the U.S. National. A monster pass at 688.
Same monster hit like he pulled out of the hat when we were in Brainerd a little bit ago. And here's Alan Johnson, the Amico Ultimate Dodge. That's the one running the wedge power. Because he'll take on Tricky Ricky Smith. Smith, who's qualified in the number 12.
Couple Chevrolets, couple Oldsmobiles, and lots of Pontiacs. Not bad, right?
It's beautiful to see a little variety back in Pro Stock.
I dig it. Tricky Ricky Smith, one of my favorites. Alan Johnson, the Amico Ultimate Dodge Avenger, getting set to move in and see if they can move up. Here comes the Amico Ultimate Dodge Avenger, 691. How about Ricky Smith, though? 688, 190.
We'll keep him in the number 15 spot. things change up top as of right now. He would race Ron Krischer in round number 1. Here's Mike Thomas and that Matco Tools Y2K Firebird. Looked like he's getting back on track. If the racetrack handles it, could be something pretty special.
He could be a hero. Robert Patrick with the Ford, Mike Thomas with the Pontiac for Matco. Thomas goes 6.88.4. Looks like hope like that one.
The top half of the field here at this lightning quick Maple Grove Raceway. Here come two more. Speaking of lightning quick, Troy Coughlin, who just got bumped into the lower half of the field, and George Marnell out of Las Vegas to contractor, another guy who struggled a little bit during the beginning of the season, brought on board some extra help.
Mr. 400 reaction time, by the way. Cars, the Oldsmobile 6.88.7. Look at George Marnell 6.86.9 up to the number.
Stand right now. Here comes KJ and Mark Powell. Two more big horsepower cars. If things are right, we can see some shuffling at the top here once again.
Mark Powell, the runner-up this race to Jed Coughlin last year. Runner-up in 1995 to Warren Johnson. Runner-up in 1990. Rob Downing, his crew chief, doing a great job. And Powell makes some horsepower, but you got to watch that AC Delco Chevrolet if he can get off the starting line. Down the racetrack, 6.88 for Kurt Johnson. Actually slowed down 1,000th of a second. A 6.86.
Nice run there by both teams. Race day combination. Top half of the field for Kurt. Top half for Mark. Going to be. Don't think the professor is.
He qualified as low as 15th this year, which is simply amazing. But last year, they only got to qualify at every race in Pro Stock car.
His streak, Warren, that is, qualifying, goes all the way back to Gainesville, 1987.
The black Pontiac goes 6.85, 200 miles per hour. Richie the Kid goes 6.86.
Richie Stevens goes around Warren Johnson. So Warren right now is on top.
Next pair coming out of the burnout box, Jim Yates, who has won this race back in 1997. Next pair moving in, Jed Coughlin Jr., Jim Yates. The Oldsmobile 6.87. Jim Yates goes 6.87. And based on the number.
Jed Coughlin, the first couple of times he let the clutch out in that yellow Oldsmobile, the car was drifting to the left and he was going to have to muscle it down the racetrack. And that means there are two cars left in Pro Stock and we'll set the field. Darrell Alderman for Mopar Parts, Team Dodge, the Hemi Avenger, and Ron Krischer, the Eagle One Y2K Formula money for being number 1. For Darrell Alderman, it has been a long time, foot times, throughout the course of qualifying here. That Rick Jones car seemed to be working very well on the starting line. After that, it's all about how much power you've got going down the track.
They'd have to go 6.85.4 to go to the number 1 spot. Mopar 6.85.3, but Ron Krischer goes 6.84.6. He sets the track record. He takes the 3,000 bucks.
Got a Ford at 691, Ricky Smith at 689, Larry Morgan 688, Troy Coughlin at an 8.